In the middle of a big, bustling city lived a family. Mom, Dad, a little girl named Eva, and her brother, Joe. Their apartment was on a high floor, and from their window, all they could see were other tall buildings and endless lines of cars. The city was always awake. Honking horns, loud music, and chattering crowds were their morning alarm and their nightly lullaby. Eva and Joe loved their home, but sometimes they wished they could hear the birds sing instead of sirens wailing. One evening, Mom and Dad gathered Eva and Joe in the living room. "We have a big surprise," Dad announced, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Mom unrolled a large picture. It showed a cozy little house with a red roof, surrounded by green fields and tall, shady trees. "We're moving to the countryside," she said with a huge smile. Eva and Joe looked at the picture, their eyes wide with wonder. "A new house? In the country?" Eva asked. "Will there be a park?" "Even better," Dad replied. "We're going to have our very own farm." Joe jumped up and down. "A farm? With animals?" Mom nodded. "Yes, we'll have cows, sheep, chickens, and maybe even a horse." The moving day was a whirlwind of boxers and goodbyes. Soon, they left the noisy city behind. As they drove, the tall buildings turned into small houses and the gray streets turned into green fields. When they finally arrived, Eva and Joe ran out of the car. The air smelled so different. It was fresh and sweet, filled with the scent of grass and flowers. Instead of honks and sirens, they heard the gentle rustling of leaves and the cheerful chirping of birds. Their new house was even cozier than the picture. It had a big porch and a huge backyard that seemed to stretch on forever. The next morning, Eva and Joe were woken up by a funny sound. Cock-a-doodle-doo! It was a rooster, perched on a fence, announcing the sunrise. They rushed outside. The sky was painted in beautiful shades of pink and orange. Their first new friend on the farm was a fluffy little puppy they named Rusty. Rusty had a wagging tail and loved to play fetch. Soon after, more friends arrived. First came the chickens, clucking and pecking around the yard. Eva and Joe learned to collect their eggs every morning. The eggs were warm and came in different shades of brown and white. Mom would cook them for breakfast, and they were the most delicious eggs they had ever tasted. Next came the cows, Daisy and Buttercup. They were gentle giants with big, soft eyes. Dad taught Eva and Joe how to milk them. The milk was creamy and fresh, perfect for their morning cereal. Then came a flock of woolly sheep. They loved to graze in the green pasture, their little lambs bouncing and playing beside them. Eva loved to sit and watch them, feeling their soft wool. A beautiful brown horse named Sparkle joined their farm family too. Dad built a stable for him, and every day Eva and Joe would help brush his shiny coat and feed him crunchy apples. Soon, they learned to ride Sparkle, exploring the beautiful trails around their farm. They even got a family of ducks who loved to swim and splash in the little pond behind the house. "Quack, quack, quack," they would say as they followed each other in a line. Life on the farm was full of new adventures. Instead of playing in a crowded park, Eva and Joe now had endless fields to run in. They helped plant a vegetable garden with Mom, watching tiny seeds sprout into juicy tomatoes, crunchy carrots, and green lettuce. They learned that food didn't just come from a store. It grew from the earth with a little bit of sunshine, water, and care. They flew kites in the open fields, their laughter carried by the wind. They had picnics under the big oak tree and watched the fluffy white clouds drift by, imagining they were dragons and castles. At night, the city lights were replaced by a sky full of twinkling stars. Dad would point out the constellations, telling them stories of ancient heroes and faraway galaxies. It was so quiet they could hear the crickets chirping their goodnight song. Eva and Joe still remembered the city, but their new home felt like a magical kingdom. They loved the sounds of the farm, the roosters crow, the cows moo, the sheep's baa and Rusty's happy bark. They loved the taste of fresh milk and warm eggs. They loved the feeling of soft grass under their feet and the fresh, clean air in their lungs. One evening, as the family sat on the porch watching the sunset paint the sky, Eva sighed happily. "I love our farm," she said. Joe nodded, petting Rusty, who was sleeping at his feet. "Me too. It's the best home ever." Mom and Dad smiled, wrapping their arms around them. They had left the loud, busy city for a life that was quiet and calm, but their hearts had never been so full. They had found their own little piece of paradise, a place where they could grow together, surrounded by nature and the happy sounds of their animal friends. And every day was a new, wonderful adventure. Thank you for watching. If you liked Eva and Joe's story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more fun adventures. Bye!